Adaptive Path is a user experience design firm. We work with clients all over the world to help them improve the experiences that their products and services create for users.
So Adobe came to us and asked us to use Flash Catalyst to create something in 3 weeks.
There was some anxiety around here about whether we could do this in the time that we had. But using Adobe Flash Catalyst enabled us to get straight to a prototype very, very quickly.
On your mark, get set, go!
Before we did any sketches, the first thing we did is we ideated on an interesting problem to solve.
So we got the whole company together, we got everybody to throw in their ideas, we had this great animated discussion, and out of all of those ideas came this concept.
That concept was a touchscreen that would live in the aisles of supermarkets, and a customer would be able to scan a food item and get a bunch of information about environmental impact of that choice, health impact of that choice, and value.
Prototyping is really critical to this project. Historically, this has been a huge challenge because there is a lot of technology that is involved in the prototyping process.
So normally we would have started with sketches, we would have continued with wireframes, and we would have blown that out into like a higher fidelity design.
What was really interesting about using Catalyst is that those phases blended. It sped up the whole design process.
Flash Catalyst was part of the Adobe suite. Once we started tinkering around in it, we realized that it was very easy to understand and learn how to use. Once PJ had opened up Catalyst, he was immediately running from desk to desk telling everyone how awesome it is.
My tool of choice was Illustrator for creating the wireframes, and moving between Illustrator and Flash Catalyst was very simple and flexible.
The great thing about Flash Catalyst is that you don't have to necessarily work with a technologist to very quickly come up with a prototype and see how your designs are working. We were able to really quickly put designs into Flash Catalyst and see how they moved and felt.
I added the arrows that made a huge difference when you click through it.
It is invaluable to be able to show a client what something moves and feels and behaves like. A lot of times when you're working with clients, you're coming from different worlds, you speak different languages.
They can compare to another product.
There's nothing like showing somebody.
We are in Friday of week 1, and I would say at this point we feel really good, right?
We get into week 2, and I slated about an hour to create a clickable prototype for our crit. I built a prototype in 10 minutes with Flash Catalyst, and that was the aha moment that this is an amazing tool.
Have you looked at how these two can play together? You always want to try to get as close to the real thing as you can before it's too late. And one of the great things about using Catalyst, I could make some suggestions about how that could be refined, and really in sometimes just a few minutes, we could see some alternatives and we could start exploring different possibilities for how we could solve the problem.
We wouldn't have been able to finish this project in 3 weeks without Flash Catalyst.
The time that it saved, the ability that it gave designers to really see their work in action faster and be able to make wiser design decisions, to be able to communicate with a client in a richer way about what we're making, all of that we'll definitely be using Flash Catalyst.
Flash Catalyst allows you to play. I think it brings a almost sketch mentality to prototypes, which we've been missing forever, frankly. I feel that the prototype shouldn't be an afterthought. It should be informing the design of the product.
Catalyst is actually one of a very small handful of technologies that I remember the moment that I first saw it, because it was really like this light bulb went off over my head where I thought, why haven't we had this whole time? And my imagination started running wild with all of the different ways that we can employ this in our business. So we as designers couldn't be happier that a tool like Catalyst is out there in the world and helping us do our work more effectively.
Ready.